Hello, we're back for another Pink Floyd sound tour in Mainstage. So I was on a forum the other day reading about a discussion about what keyboard sounds to use on Comfortably Numb. And the back and forth on this forum was basically a bunch of people saying Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb is a guitar song, so it doesn't really matter what the keyboard is doing. You just wallpaper playing some pads behind the guitar. Well, with no disrespect to my guitar friends, and certainly no disrespect to David Gilmour on Comfortably Numb, arguably one of the top 3 guitar solo songs of all time. Brilliant, totally singable, memorable. You'd know it. You can walk down the street and sing it right now, I'm sure. Brilliant. However, there's no guitar in the verses. So, there's something carrying this song. And yeah, you could play it with pads. That's fine. But there's a moodiness, there's an atmospheric thing, there's a lot of counterpoint that's going on with the keyboards that if you just play a pad, you're really doing everybody a disservice. So with all due respect to this only being a guitar player's song, suck eggs. It's a big keyboard song, as I will now demonstrate. I had to do a lot to cover this inconsequential keyboard part. Okay, so looking at the rig here, let's jump over to this guy so you can see a little bit clearer, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. I'll make that a little bit bigger. All right, so looking at the way the keys are laid out. Actually, let me just jump into performance mode for 1 second. So, at the top of the song, we start with a B minor on a string, and then we slide up. It's atmospheric. Then we come down. So down here on the bottom end of the keyboard is really, I've set this little silly bendy thing up just for the open of the song. It's the first 2 chords, but it's pretty important. I mean, it really sets things up. So what are those? That is I've got the plectrum pad layered with Broom Street Significant Synth. So let's take a look at those real quick. So the plectrum pad is this cool little analog pad. Let me solo this guy for 1 second so you can hear what he's doing. What a great little keyboard. That's so close. It didn't come that way out of the box, but look at this. It's got this little auto bend feature on it. So I turn that off. I just play chords. But if you mess with the release a little bit, you mess with the attack a little bit, give it a little bit of a soft attack, mess with your time and the depth of your auto bend. It's so cool. So cool. You could use it on the second chord too, as long as you got some strings behind you. So starts 4 beats, 3, 4. Hello, is there anybody in there? Oh, little whale sound. What's the little whale sound? Well, the other thing that I got going on here, along with my little slide up guy, is this Broom Street synth. It's got this nice little portamento, little atmospheric guy. So that's layered in underneath. Gives you a little bit of move, and when you play the 2 of them together, they rub on each other a little bit. It gives you that dissonance that you got at the top. But this little Broom Street synth, if you play that with a pitch bend, you can kind of get yourself to these whale sounds. So my little whale sound that I've got going, I'm soloed, is actually that Broom Street synth up an octave, and I just ran it through some reverb and delay, and I'm pitch bending it. So I'm performing that. But since my hands are full during the actual song, playing the other stuff, I just sampled myself playing that so that I can have it running behind. There's another one that you could play underneath. Really, that one works underneath the G, the E minor, and the B minor. So it just gives it a little bit of extra texture that everybody's looking for, right? Okay, so now what else do we got going on the keyboard here? So the verses, I have this same string patch. So this is my synth strings. This is like my Floyd string patch. I use this one a lot. What I did in the verses, it's just darker up here. Same string patch is up here on the top keyboard. So I'm playing it with the verses down here. And then in the B section, I just brighten it up. So you'll be able to see here. So where am I? There we are. Okay. So this is like a vintage string. I renamed it Floyd strings because I've tinkered with it. But it's an ES2 patch. And it's a synthesizer string. It's like a standard synth string or studio string or something like that. I just modified it. So in this one, what I've done is just taken the cutoff and kind of lowered this down so that it's just a little bit darker throughout, backgroundy. And so that's important because in the middle of the keyboard here, I have my Juno. So I've used this. This comes up in a lot of my Floyd stuff. So analog horns, I call it a Juno, but it's here under the synthesizer, brass, analog horns. Again, you tweak it a little bit, but you're in the neighborhood. That's also close to like the an octave up. That would be Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Very similar. Anyway, so in the verses, it starts with just the basic patch, slides up. Hello, is there anybody in there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Second time around, now you start with the counterpoint of these inconsequential keyboards. I hear you feeling down. Right, so this little Juno, every time in the verses. Now the Juno is your chords, and you come up top. You are a city. Right? Playing two different versions of this little line. Counterpoint. So the strings are going down on the top, but coming up on the left hand. Makes a big difference. Whoops. Well, good thing I'm not getting paid to play it right now. All right. Whoops. Sorry. Then, what did I do? Oh, I jumped into my layout editor. Sorry. Okay. And then, yeah, sorry. So, let's see. Have become the nice little, isn't that nice? Then, first guitar solo, we come back down to the Juno, little different line, and the orchestral stuff that we've got down here in the left hand kind of comes in. So you've got this low brass, and that's a combination of my Juno, kind of overlaps down there. But I've also got this Contact. Has this nice, it got this nice brassy, like low orchestral horns. And the line is a little different underneath the guitar solo. Leaving a little room for the guitar. Right. And then we're back into the fall again. But you can hear how it's much more mellow through here. Not a lot of rasp on these, because I'm getting out of the way so the guitar can cut through. Okay, so you heard there was also the little glockenspiel that's layered in there. It's just hitting on the high A and the high G. It'd be nice if I could do that in this next verse. Wrong range, so I have the glockenspiel down here as well, so I can do that for the just a little pinprick. There'll be no more. And that is actually kudos to a gentleman from South America, I believe Argentina, maybe. He's got some stuff up on SoundCloud. He's also got a sample library or a keyboard library for Korg, and I think K2000, K2500. I'll put the links to his stuff. But his SoundCloud got a bunch of stuff to where you'll find, he's got money in there. He's got a ton of stuff. I mean, really, he's got all the and that Floyd scream he's actually recreated. That's not from the record, but he actually went to all the effort, like I did with the whale thing of recreating that scream, which is great. Super cool to have that underneath you. Okay, so you got samples, you got the little we're moving our way through this thing. I have the glockenspiels on a mute, so I can take them out. Because as the song goes on, it kind of builds higher and higher in the keyboard range. You'll find that you're kind of, as you're starting to go into these, you can kind of even come up into a higher range to the second verse, second chorus. So you kind of play around, see what sounds nice to you, but I find I kind of end up working my way up higher up into the keyboard. And for that, all right, and then comes time for the big guitar solo. And you could take it out on just the pad with the big brass underneath. But what he does in the actual song, he switches over to B3 because it's a rock outro, so he gets rocky. So you still have the orchestral underneath, but he's got the Hammond. So take it out with organ, and if you want, you could probably use your expression pedal, layer that Juno underneath the organ. Maybe I'll go back and do that just to fatten it up a little bit. So these are all things that are going on in an inconsequential keyboard song. I don't think I forgot anything. We got the bell tree, we got the scream, we got the whale calls. Yeah, that's it. So there's Comfortably Numb. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you count the glockenspiel twice, 6 with the brighter strings, 7 with the whale thing, the slide up guys, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with the samples. Yeah, okay, so 12 kind of layers going on in Comfortably Numb. And that's it. So good luck, and rock on, guitar players.